timestamp, October 25th, about 5 p.m. Sorry I haven't checked in. It's been a while. I apologize. Been very busy. Been helping out other stores, which I actually got to talk to the district manager yesterday. We will call him Ray. He came in, was oohing and awing and admiring the work we'd done. And he stopped by the stationery area and he was like, you know, when I was here a week ago, I wanted to cry because of what it looked like, and now it looks amazing. Because I'm a little snarky, in case you don't know me and you haven't figured that out yet. I've been smoking about 2 cigars a day, 2.5. I've been bad, but there's a lot of stress. We'll get into some of that, but if you've been watching, you already know some of that too. But I feel fine. And I know the object of the game is to quit smoking before I don't feel fine. I get that. It's a little hard right now. I'm not smoking 4 to 6 a day like I used to, so that's good, but I know I'm working on it. So he stopped by and told me that, and I said, you know, Ray, you know, the past couple weeks we've been helping out other stores. I want you to understand something that I've come to realize. And he was like, you know, well, all right, Marcus, what's that? I said, the people from our store are amazing. And he looked at me, and I could tell he wanted to like rebut or, you know, be snarky back, and he just kind of looked at me and went, yeah, you are. You guys really are. Because the 4 stores that we've been in over the past 2 weeks or what have you have been so broken and so dysfunctional. We're like, you know, special forces kind of thing coming in and fixing everything. And that's not, you know, I'm cocky and don't realize the truth. That's me looking at what they've got going on, what we're doing to correct it, and realizing that they don't know what they're doing or are apathetic or insert reason for failure here. But man, we're amazing. We are rock stars. And I told him that I need you to remember that we had this talk, you and I, because if I think you're forgetting it, I will remind you once we get set up in our digs again, because we've seen how everybody else does it. We actually are self-aware at this point. We are quite cognizant that we're actually quite good at what we do. So, not really interested in a lot of elaborate criticism in the future. He was like, yeah, no, I get you. Okay. Also, you know, when raise time comes around, good time to remember this conversation. Just, you know, throwing that out there. Money's nice. I like money. Regarding the other elephant in the room that looks a lot like my dad. So I finally got a hold of my mom. I can tell she was a little guarded, which after I blew up at her the other day, I get why. But I don't necessarily feel bad about that. You know, when you get accused essentially of a felony, or someone in your family does, by your own dad 5 times in the past year and a half, to say it's gotten old isn't really fair to the phrase, it's gotten old. You know? And now, this last one, I think I mentioned the specifics. My family, namely my wife and my autistic son, broke into his workshop and raided his gun locker. So now my dad is thinking about my family, crimes against him, and his rifles all within the same thought bubble. That is unacceptable. You know, last May, my boys supposedly stole my dad's antique Mickey Mouse watch, which they didn't. And my dad, this is when my mom was in the hospital, my dad called my mom in the hospital, and then my mom called us to lay out the accusation. And Pix and I answered the phone and put it on speaker because mom was calling from the hospital, and we were like, cool, you know, are you okay? You know, what's going on? Are you all right? Do we need to come pick you up? You know, all those kind of questions. We didn't really get a chance to go into those questions because we had on the speaker and both our boys were in the room because it was a family, you know, event. Mom, you know, grandma's on the phone. You know, this is a woman that has almost died a couple times in the past few months. So, hey, this is cool. You know, everybody gather around the radio. President Roosevelt's going to speak, you know, that kind of stuff. Y'all can Google that if look up Fireside Chat. So she begins berating us and letting us know that our children are ungrateful, and it was so disrespectful for them to do what they did to their grandfather, you know, to take something that was near and dear to him, etc., etc. It was an ugly, ugly phone call. And it broke both my boys' hearts because it was just, number one, they had no idea what she was talking about. Number two, my mom was just really ugly on the phone with them, which I have yet to get an apology for that, by the way. She claims she doesn't remember doing it. Maybe she doesn't. But me, if I accidentally hurt someone's feelings, I typically will at least apologize if I did, or, you know, if I did something that got you upset. I wouldn't do that purposefully, especially not like a good friend or a family member or whatnot. So, you know, that's not really cool. But the kicker on this one, the reason I bring it up as a real interesting point of interest, the first time we got accused of breaking into their safe, isn't it a little alarming that I have to clarify and say the first time? We'd gotten a phone call saying, hey, the safe got broken into, you know, we're gonna have to talk. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure my dad wasn't expecting this reaction, which was Kelly and I immediately got in the car and went to their place. We're like, safe's been broken into? Okay, all hands on deck. It was like 10:30 at night. I'm like, doesn't matter, I know it's past your bedtime, we're coming over. Because I could kind of tell that we might be getting accused or insinuated that maybe we were responsible. My cats are up to mischief. So, got there. There's a full pot of coffee. I don't know that I told you guys this one before, so I'm going to go ahead and lay it out. So we got there, and my dad's talking about he's going to have to break into the safe because whoever broke into the safe damaged the lock. And I can tell my mom said something about, you know, we're really concerned because there were only 4 of us that knew where the safe was, and I know it wasn't 2 of us. To which many times since that night I've said, you know, to my mom, you accused us of breaking into your safe. And her response has every time been, I never accused anyone. I feel like, was that the Reddit thing? Am I the asshole here? You know, am I crazy for, when you say only, it could have only been the four of us and I know it wasn't two of us. Are the other two people right in drawing the conclusion that they're being accused? Does that seem practical, reasonable, rational? I don't know. But yeah, no, that I brought that one up a few times, and again, no apologies, because she didn't accuse anyone. If you can tell I'm agitated, you're paying attention. So, I'm being told the lock is broken, and Dad is in his workshop. He's trying to figure out some way of breaking open the safe, which, it's a safe. They're designed to not be broken open easily, so I've got my suspicions anyway, and at the same time, I kind of want to crack at this. And the key's on the bar in the kitchen. I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna take the key and we're gonna go check it out. And she's like, well, Dad said that the lock is broken. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I took the key anyway, and went to where the safe is. And Mom, looking over my shoulder, opened it with no problem whatsoever. No problem at all. So I start pulling out the contents slowly from the safe, the various things that are supposed to be in there. One of the things that I pull out of the safe is an antique Mickey Mouse watch. And I made a little bit of a presentation about it. I said, oh look, a Mickey Mouse watch. How interesting. I've heard a lot about this. And I put it down with the rest of the stuff. And my mom's response was something like, oh, that's where it is. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to apologize to my boys, I guess, then. Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I have no expectations at this point. Yeah, I'm pretty agitated. But, so yeah, we've gone from safe cracking to now we've broken into the gun locker. Here's a life lesson for you. So I'm supposed to call my dad's doctor on Monday and basically answer any questions he might have. I'm going to start this part of the conversation by a little life lesson, piece of advice. Never attempt to bluff somebody that actually knows more about the subject matter than you do. Unless you're really, really good. So in talking to my mom on the phone the other day, I asked again, because I had asked before and gotten kind of side blown off-ish. I said, so, Dad went in on September 30th, cognitive eval, you've got to have the results back by now. And she said, oh yeah, they do know that there's something going on there, but they're not really sure. They've labeled it as possible mild dementia. This is the part where you need to actually know the subject matter before you try and bluff somebody, because obviously my mom has lied somewhere, and here's why. I was in kind of a disbelief moment. I'm like, that's not possible. And she's like, well, why not? Mild dementia, that would explain a lot, right? I'm like, well, yeah, it would explain a lot. But he's been hallucinating for at least 6 years, maybe 8, I'm not sure. I've never been able to really get a straight answer out of you, but I know it's at least 6. I certainly know it's 2. Since we were helping out, he's been seeing all kinds of things that started, January of last year. And according to you, he's been doing that for a while. And based on the numbers you threw at me, that's like 6 years plus, maybe 8, maybe even 10. I don't know, but at least 6. And I said, and the paranoia and the accusations about us breaking in and stealing stuff. And she's like, well, what does that have to do with anything? And I said, well, those are both really, really like red flag neon signs of moderate dementia, especially moderate Alzheimer's. And I think she responded with something like, well, the doctor, he knows what he's doing. And I was like, oh, does he have all the information though? Because that's a really downplayed diagnosis that doesn't make any sense based on, what I know the patient has been doing. So, I'm not a doctor, but I'm a writer who's really good at doing research. And those two symptoms alone, those aren't mild symptoms. They are absolutely moderate symptoms. So, and we're talking 6 years of hallucinations plus. Even if you want to say he's at the end of mild was 6 years ago. If you follow me, if we're willing to entertain the idea that the hallucinations came at the tail end of mild, going into moderate, well, that means moderate. And I know it's a kind of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey kind of thing, but that still means that he began moderate for the most part 6 years ago. That ain't mild. And I got, I'm taking care of him, the way the doctor said I should take care of him, and all that, which, if the doctor is drawing the conclusion that he has mild dementia, yeah, she's doing everything right. She is. She's absolutely doing. The only thing that I would do differently regarding mild, because he knows that he's having. My dad knows that he's having memory issues. Is I would start doing pictures and post-it notes as reminders around the house, various places, just to keep him cognizant of the various things that he should be doing, the follow-throughs. Post-it note over the stove, did you turn the stove off? That kind of thing. Just to make sure he's not forgetting important stuff. Pictures of family or friends or whatnot with their names underneath it to reinforce these memories and such. This is your neighbor. His name is Donald. This is your neighbor. Her name is, that kind of stuff to make sure that he's not forgetting, or at least he can recall it more easily. It's the only thing that I do differently. But he's not mild. He's not mild stage. That's the stuff that I would have been doing 6, 8, 10 years ago. We're now at a time where you need to be taking bigger, bolder steps and be taking this a lot more seriously. This is a man that's having paranoid delusions. The DMV took away his license and he failed the test 3 times trying to get it back. He's been showing definite, we'll call it emotional outbursts of the more aggressive and violent nature. A lot of these aren't really mild symptoms, by the way, but I'm sure that my mom downplayed it because very clearly she lied about the hallucinations. There's no other explanation for it. There's no way the doctor came back with it might be mild dementia. No way that was the result that came back if he knew everything, which tells me he doesn't know everything. My mom is protecting him. The problem with that, and you can't walk away from this one. You can't really you can explain it away, but you can't justify it. There's no cure for Alzheimer's, which sucks. But we are where we are. It's kind of like it is what it is, right? There are treatments therapy programs and things like that, even medications that can help slow it down, keep some of the symptoms more under control, and just it can prolong the person's life and or cognitive functions a little bit, a couple years maybe, 2, 3. This is all stuff that I learned in doing research, which is why don't bluff me. In protecting his legacy and protecting him from being labeled, which apparently is one of her concerns. I just realized, I just talked to Pixie and she said that, yeah, your mom said that one of her main goals was to protect his legacy and make sure he didn't get a bad name and all that. So, in protecting him, you're hurting him. You want to eke out every last minute you can with him. Your ignorance cost you probably a couple years that you could have had with him. It's just truth. It's just truth. So I'm supposed to answer questions and probably set the record straight, which is likely going to cause a bit of a row, I would expect. Now I'm going to tell the doctor what I know. If my mom told him everything, there won't be any surprises there. If my mom did in fact lie, I don't know where this path is going to lead. My gut says she lied, because there's no way a doctor who knows what they're doing, and I'm assuming he does, just because if he's the head of a staff at a VA, he probably knows what he's doing. There's no way that a doctor with that kind of training and experience, he's a geriatric leader, there's no way he can come back with possible mild dementia ? Knowing that. No way. No way. Nope. He's probably sitting back with the information he has and scratching his skull going, okay, it quacks like a duck. It doesn't really look like a duck. Maybe it's some kind of exotic turkey from Switzerland. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Because if he's got this going on and this going on and this going on, this should be happening too, and I'm being told it's not, which doesn't make any damn sense. And that's where my head is. So my conversation with the doc may be interesting. But it's one that I have to have. So I gotta get my dad help. If I can, I gotta protect my family. Because in my opinion, he's dangerous. He's dangerous. They have 2 vehicles with dead batteries. But my dad is an engineer with a 2.5 car garage workshop full of equipment and tools. He has a couple different ways, including a device specifically made to charge car batteries. He has one of those portable battery chargers. He can get one of his vehicles functioning again and show up on my porch with a couple of rifles, wanting the rest of his rifles back that we don't have. Is he capable of doing that? Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he is. Will he? I sure hope not. I've instructed the boys, if you see, his truck out front, don't even answer the door. Call 911 and get low. Because there's a good chance that what follows will be ugly. Get the police here as quickly as you can and try and stay out of sight. Stay low. Get behind heavy things made of real wood or metal. doing shooter drills in school right now, which, I mean, my boys aren't in school, but I know that that's become culturally a thing, which we should never have gotten to this point. And thoughts and prayers just aren't quite cutting it. The idea that I may have to do shooter drills with my kids at my house because Grandpa may come over. Never in a million years, you know. But he could. He has the means, and I think his brain is broken enough to where he could. I don't want anybody in my family to be that kind of headline. You know, I don't want a headline where my dad gets gunned down by police. You know, that's not a headline I want either. I don't want him to, you know, whip his pistol out and unload on a bag boy at Publix. You know, there's a lot of real life scenarios that could happen because he's a paranoid, delusional army vet with PTSD and a loaded gun in his pocket, who is in moderate stage dementia, most likely Alzheimer's. There's a lot that can go wrong right now. And my mom is so determined to spend as much time with him as possible. In my opinion, she's putting everybody at risk. So, this is going to be a real interesting couple of months, I think. I'm not looking forward to it. But there's nobody else that can walk this path. It's got to be me. So, at least the coffee's good. Again, health check. I feel fine. My anxiety's ramped up a little bit. You probably understand why. If not, go back to the beginning of this video and watch it again because you weren't paying attention. Yeah, not in a million years did I ever think I'd be having this moment in life. And yet here we are. On a bizarre break, because I'm seeing the paper towels in the background, on a bright and shiny note, our work actually did like care package bags for anyone affected by Milton and Helene. So we got a couple of big shopping bags with like some canned veg and paper towels and stuff like that. That was kind of cool. It was a blessing. Didn't have to. It was nice. And I've been rejected by FEMA. I think I mentioned that because there's no damage to my house, except there is. But I did get my chainsaw and my pole saw yesterday. So that'll be part of my weekend, is attempting to carefully perform surgery on an 80-year-old oak so that it doesn't crush my house. Light a candle for me. It'll be great. Up on the roof, I should be able to see my dad's truck coming, so that's good. Oy vey. Alright. I'm blabbered long enough. I'm a really good writer. I don't know that I have the balls to try and make this stuff up. This is some crazy town. Alright. Make it a great day.